Hello and welcome back to BookTube with Amy. Today is going to be the start of a reading vlog and I am very excited to say that I'm taking part in Picture This 2022. So this is a read along that is taking place for the month of April and it's being hosted by my good friend Jack over at Spread Book Joy and also Shelley Swearingen, and they're basically hosting a month-long read along to prove to people that picture books are not just for kids, that they are an art form and have value and merit and are their own form of storytelling within their own right, and just prove to people that they are not just childish. So I'm really happy to be taking part. I've had a couple of picture books on my shelf for a wee while that I just haven't gotten around to picking up yet. I also recently just got a box of books back from my mum and dad's that had some of my childhood picture books in them, so I'm really excited. This read along came along at like the perfect time for me, let me tell you. So I thought it would be fun just to talk you through today what my books are going to be for each of the prompts, and then I'll just sort of vlog my experience of reading them, tell you what my thoughts are, show you some of the artwork, and I just be really excited about it. If you haven't checked out Jack's channel, you should definitely go and check it out. She is really brilliant and she just has like the most soothing voice ever, by the way. And I don't know if I've ever said this to Jack, but like I don't know, her voice, it just calms me down, man. She's absolutely class. And she reads such a wide variety of books. She reads a lot of kids books and a lot of middle grade books because she is a teacher and she makes content on her channel specifically for that. So if you're looking for recommendations for kids books or middle grade books, go check it out. But she also then documents her own reading journey as well. And she reads a mix. She reads some classics, she reads some YA, she reads some contemporary, she reads a bit literary fiction. She just reads a mix and she's also just really funny. So go subscribe if you haven't already. She's absolutely fantastic and I couldn't recommend her highly enough. She always makes really good thought-provoking comments as well, and she's just really interesting and I feel like we always end up having a really good chat in our comment section. So the way that the read along works is Jack has 3 prompts and Shelley has 3 prompts, so there's only 6 prompts in total, and they are just one-word prompts, and they've said that we're allowed to interpret it in any way we like, so it is really open and really stretchable to try and fit books around these prompts, which is brilliant, and it just makes it really accessible for people to take part. So like, that's brilliant. So the first book I'm going to read is The Golden Egg, and this is pictures by Maggie Kneen, but it's written by AJ Wood. So this is one of the books that I got in my box from my mum and dad. This was a big favourite of mine, especially around Easter time. You know, it's coming up to Easter this month, so I felt like this would be a great time to read this book, and I'm going to use this to fit my prompt of green, and that is one of Shelley's prompts because it's obviously set in spring. You can see for the cover there's a lot of green on it, also on the back, and it's set in spring at an Easter egg hunt, so there's just so much green throughout it. So I'm going to use this one for that prompt, and I'm actually like ridiculously excited to read this again. Like I can't stop smiling just because it's got so many good memories of when I was actually a kid, but I think I'm going to thoroughly enjoy this as an adult reading it as well, because I can already see like so many things in the artwork that I just wouldn't have picked up on or thought about as a kid, and it's just gorgeous. So I'm really excited to show you guys this in a wee bit more detail and to reread it because I can't really remember anything about the story. The next word for Shelley's prompt is friendship, and I'm going to be reading The Little Troll, and this is by Torrej Brigsenverd. So I actually got this book when I was in Norway visiting some family when I was little, but unfortunately I lost my copy, and so a couple of years ago Simon repurchased it for me. God knows where he found this online because it's exceptionally hard to get, but this is just such a beautiful wee story and the artwork in this is just thoroughly gorgeous. It is basically about a troll, and trolls believe that if they go out into the sunlight then they will turn to stone or they will explode and something terrible will happen. But this wee troll, he really wants to befriend the animals in his forest and play with them, and they can't because they're obviously out and playing all during the day. And so him and these animals form a wee bit of an unlikely friendship, and he decides to be a wee bit sneaky and play with them anyway, and the results are not as disastrous as previously thought. I'm really excited to reread this. I reread it when Simon purchased it for me because it was just like such a trip back to childhood. But again, the artwork in this is just so beautiful and it's so cosy and really comforting, so I'm excited to read this one again. And then for the last one of Shelley's prompts, the prompt is home, and this one's a wee bit of a stretch, but there's a story behind it and I'll tell you why. So this is The Wonky Donkey by Craig Smith. So when me and Simon first went on our very first date, he told me a joke about a wonky donkey, and the joke was absolutely terrible that I can't believe I gave him a second date, but he made it a thing. And so every single time we ever got into a taxi together, he told the taxi driver the wonky donkey joke. And I, every single time, would be thoroughly mortified that he was telling this joke because it was terrible, and it got to the point where I would dread getting into a taxi with him, and sometimes he would like properly bury the lead and I'd be like, oh, he's going to have forgotten, like he's not going to do it, and then like he would do it and I'd be like, oh my god. So anyway, he decided that when we got married he would retire the wonky donkey joke and he would no longer tell it to taxi drivers to embarrass me. I think that was his wedding present to me, which I thoroughly appreciated. But he told this joke to Fatima, who is the lady who baked our wedding cake for us, and I'll put in pictures of our wedding cake. But on top of our wedding cake there was roses that were made from edible sugar paper, because I had made my roses for our wedding out of book pages, and she had hand painted these to match my wedding flowers. But all around the flower it says, Simon gave Amy a wonky donkey, and she included that wee joke as part of your wedding, which we didn't know about, and she surprised us with that on the day, which was just like so adorable. And so then for our first year wedding anniversary, with it being paper, there was about 3 or 4 members of the family who actually gifted us this Wonky Donkey book because it had been like such a running joke with us for so long. So I'm using this to fit my home prompt because I haven't actually read this, but there's something about Wonky Donkey that just feels a bit like home. That is like the soppiest thing I've ever said at any point in my life, and like you'll never get me being this soft again, right? But that's why I've chosen this. Let's move on so I can go back to being like cold-hearted and horrible. So the first prompt for Jack's prompts is quiet, and I'm going to read The Arrival by Sean Tan, and I am using this for that prompt because there are no words in here, it is just all pictures, so the story is told completely silently. And this has been on the shelf for a while. This is actually one of Simon's books and he recommended it to me. I just have never checked it out yet, so this has gave me the ideal excuse, so I'm really excited to get to this one. It looks absolutely beautiful and it's giving me sort of like a vintagey feel. I can't wait to read it. And then my last book is a wee bit chunky, so I'm going to double up on my prompts. And so the prompts are red and space. So I'm going to read Nick Butterworth's Percy the Park Keeper for this. This is just a treasury of different Percy the Park Keeper stories, and again this is one that Simon had purchased for me because Percy the Park Keeper was one of my favourite books to read when I was a child. I also had a big anthology bind up quite like this, and the reason I'm using it to fit my prompt for red, because through the illustrations I just feel like red's such a significant colour. There is so many animals in this story who have the colour red in their illustrations as well. The rabbits sometimes wear wee red stripy scarves. There's robins who obviously have red in them. There's red foxes, there's red squirrels. So I feel like there's quite a lot of red in here. And I'm also going to use this as my prompt for space because it takes place over the whole of Percy's Park. He is the park keeper, and so there's quite a lot of space that these stories cover. But also because there's one story in particular that just sticks in my head anytime I think about Percy the Park Keeper. And there's a story, I think it's called One Snowy Night or One Stormy Night, I can't really remember, it's been that long since I've read it. But basically there's a snowstorm in his park and he has like his wee park keeper's cabin that he lives in on site. And so if one by one all the animals come up in the chap his door and they're looking for sanctuary for the night because the snowstorm's that bad and they want to obviously be cosy. And so he starts to let them in because he's such a softie, but every time somebody else comes in he's like, right, that's it, I've named me a room now, like nobody else can come in. But obviously somebody else comes to his door and they have a reason why they should get in, so he's like, fine, in you come, but you're absolutely the last, like I have named your space. Then somebody else comes and you get the picture. But the animals basically fill up every single space in his wee cabin, to the point where there's like mice and cups and squirrels in his sock drawers, and it's just really adorable. And that's just one of the stories that really stuck with me. It was my favourite Percy the Park Keeper story when I was a kid. You know, it's wintry outside and all the animals are cosy and safe with him in his wee cabin, and they're all having like hot chocolate and stuff, and it's just like so adorable and cosy. So I'm going to double up on my prompts for this, and I think that's okay because this is quite a thick book as well. So that is everything that I am planning to read, and I guess I'll check in with you once I have read one and let you know how I got on. Hello, so I have just read The Golden Egg, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was so lovely. I'll show you guys some of the artwork on the inside, and this is like a fold out version, and it reveals all the wee eggs underneath. I had a really fun time reading this. It was a quick read, it only took like 10-15 minutes or so, but the artwork is just absolutely gorgeous. And I have become like really obsessed with Animal Crossing in the last year or so, and the artwork in this was giving me defo Animal Crossing vibes. I mean, come on, tell me that's not the white bench for Animal Crossing, eh? The wee animals in this book are just the actual cutest. I just had a really fun time with it. I really like the artwork. It is a style that I really like, and it was just lovely in springtime and a really nice setup to coming into spring and with Easter approaching. So I had a fun time with it. I really like the message behind this book. When I read this really as a kid, it was just sort of feel like a fun wee book, and like it rhymes, so it flows really nicely. And I really liked when my dad read it to me in bed, and then like it would make me guess what colour the egg was going to be like before he would reveal it to me, so it helped me learn colours and stuff. But as an adult rereading this, actually I feel like the moral of this is that it doesn't matter what's on the outside because everybody's the same on the inside. And I just thought that was such a lovely message, and something that I probably didn't pick up on as a kid, but rereading it as an adult, it just gives it an extra dimension, which is just really lovely. And the illustrations in here were just gorgeous, so I'm so glad to have read this. Hello, so it's another day, another picture book, and today I read The Arrival by Shaun Tan. I had never read this before, so this is a first time read for me. I'll show you some of the artwork. And this actually is Simon's book. He's had it for a few years. So this is the story of a man who leaves his wife and his kid, and he goes to try and forge them a better life in another country. And it uses the silence in this book and the lack of words to really show how difficult it can be for immigrants to communicate in a different country where the language isn't their first language, and you know, really try to learn that country's culture and customs. And I thought that was really interesting and a really cool concept, and some of the artwork in this book is just beautiful. There's like wee creatures and wee beasties and stuff at times, and I just think that they are adorable. And oh wait, I'll show you my favourite one. I'll show you this wee dude here. Oh, so cute. And I really liked that, and I really liked that anything that was supposed to have words on it within this society, so if you had like weird hieroglyphic type on it, just so that as the reader we could sort of experience how difficult it could be to go to somewhere new and, you know, no speak that language and no really know what anything is. And our main character in here suffers quite a lot of rejection, and he suffers rejection because of the fact he is an immigrant, and I think that that's probably pretty true to a proper experience. I enjoyed it. I did like the artwork. I thought it was beautiful, and like I say, some of the wee creatures and stuff were really cute, and he learns a lot of other people's stories through this book as well, because a lot of the people who tend to help him are also other immigrants who have been in a similar predicament, and so we learn their backstories, which I really enjoyed and was something that I wasn't expecting. I just it didn't grip me hugely. I feel like although the artwork was completely stunning and beautiful, I'll show you some of the cityscapes, and it was gorgeous, I just feel like it probably could have done with a wee bit more colour or something. I think that, you know, the darkness of it signifies its time, because it's definitely a vintagey feel book, but I feel like it could have maybe used colour a wee bit more expressively, even if there was just like something throughout it. Like they could have used like a warm tone colour every time somebody had decided to help him or something, and it was maybe just like one thing within the artwork that was colourful to like signify a bit of hope or something. I think that that would have been a really cool feature. However, I did thoroughly enjoy the story, and it's not something that I have ever really thought about picking up before really, but I enjoyed it, and he did some interesting things with how he used the darker colours, I guess, as well. Sometimes like the black is used to block bits out so that you really focus on the pictures, and then other times it's white. I really did enjoy it. I thought it was interesting, and that's just some more examples of the hieroglyphics. I would definitely recommend it. It was a really wee quick read, and it's quite thought provoking, so I enjoyed it. Hello, so I read The Wonky Donkey. I'll show you some of the pictures in here. So this is sort of the art style, which I really enjoy. There's quite a fair few wee puns in here, which is funny. Fart jokes, which are always hysterical. I really enjoyed this. It was such a quick read. It only takes like 10 minutes, but I imagine that a child would find this very amusing, and there would be lots of giggling ensuing. I found it funny, so I really enjoyed it, and the book is worse than Simon's joke, so I feel like I've actually maybe gotten off lightly in that regard, but I had fun reading it. I don't really have a great deal to say about this one. There wasn't like a lovely message behind it or anything like that. It's just poking fun at a donkey, but it was great and it was really funny. I liked the rhyming in it, and the artwork was cute. There was this wee bird that featured all the way through it as well, and I really liked the wee bird. I thought that they were adorable, so I thoroughly enjoyed it. So I have just read Percy the Park Keeper, and this was just a bind up that Simon had bought for me a couple of years ago. So this was published in, I think, 2005, 2008, let me see, 2005. That was quite a big jump, 2005 to 2008, but it was 2005. So these aren't actually the ones that I read when I was a kid. I don't actually know what's happened to that collection, but the one that I had like a big fold out map and stuff, and it was absolutely gorgeous, and Gutty doesn't have it anymore. So Simon bought me this one as like a placekeeper almost, and I had never actually sat down and read it until this readathon had gave me the perfect opportunity to do so. So there was some newer stories in here that I hadn't read before, and there were some old classics as well, which I read when I was a kid, and it was just like completely and utterly delightful to read this. The stories are quite short, they're maybe only about 10 pages each, so you can do like a couple of stories within one sitting, and it's just lovely. Percy is like the most kind and caring wee guy ever. He cares so much about his park, he cares so much about his animals, and I just needed the wholesomeness that this book gave me this week. Really did enjoy it, and the illustrations in here are just absolutely fabulous. They are so like cosy, the scenes where it's like cold outside and it's winter and all the animals are, you know, bundled up and Percy's bundled up. It's just so cute. And then let me find you some of the park as well, because the scenery in here is just absolutely amazing. I thoroughly enjoy it. This is his like perfect wee spot in the park down beside the brook, and he just likes to go down there for some quiet, and that's just so beautiful. And then we've got like the big trees that the animals live in, and I just think they are so adorable, and I really enjoyed the illustrations in here. I think that they just add so much to the story, because you really get to see all the animals, and sort of you see their wee cheeky personalities coming out through the illustrations, and I just think they are so lovely. Like I honestly can't describe this book anything other than delightful, and it was a 5-star read for me. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I really loved having an excuse to pick this back up. I'm not sure if I ever really would have gotten round to it if it wasn't for this read along, so it's gave me such a great excuse to really dive into some nostalgic classics for me, but then also pick up some newer picture books that I've acquired that are on the shelves. So thanks to Jack, because like this has just been an absolute fantastic reading week. So to finish up Picture This 2020, the last book I read was The Little Troll by Tor Age Brunsverd. I've butchered that, but it's fine, we're alright. So this is a story a wee troll, well, a little troll, and he wants to be pals with the animals. He wants to go play in the sun, but he can't because the sun turns trolls into stone, and there are like troll witches, and oh, it's just brilliant, and I thoroughly enjoyed reading this again. It's so nostalgic to me because obviously I got it while I was away in Norway as a child, and then Simon repurchased it for me, and the artwork in it's just brilliant, and like, oh, they're always cooking like big cauldrons of food, and the animals are just adorable. Oh, there's just something about it. I love it so much. So this was another 5-star for me. It was absolutely great. I'm pleased to have read it, and I've really enjoyed my Picture This experience, and it's been really comforting. I've enjoyed it. I think as well I've realised how much I like an illustration in my book. Like I always talk about how I like something a wee bit different and a wee bit more engaging than just your standard book, and I appreciate when an author does something like that. Having taken part in Middle Grade March recently, and then taking part in Picture This 2022, it's really made me branch out into some books that I wouldn't have ordinarily have picked up, and also make some new discoveries about things I enjoy in my books. So overall it has been really, really fun. So big thanks to Jack for hosting the read along, and to Shelley as well. It's been so fun. Hopefully you're enjoying everything that you are reading at the moment. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye!